You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Center, this is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share facts.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is We'll do it live! Time goes in, time goes out. Never miscommunication.
It's over 9,000! My name is Foxy.
The balls are in there. Do a barrel roll. Don't save me, bro. It's a trap. I'm a firing memory. Time to do. Hey, Charlie, wake up. Oh, God, oh, man.
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd to Know Basis Show. I'm Cian O'Callaghan, and with me, as always, is...
Ahoy, it's Dara O'Connor.
Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy. And just to give the listeners at home a quick heads up, we are going to talk about Moon Knight this week, the new Marvel Disney Plus show, which is taking a very, very strange direction so far, as well as Peacemaker from the DC universe, again, very strange and exciting, and a few other things which we will add in thematically as the show goes along. But first off, Dara, are you having an all right day?
No.
That's honest.
No, I'm so incredibly busy. I can't put into words. If someone knows cloning and wants to pass the love, I would gladly like to clone myself. That would be nice to try and do everything I need to do. But not as busy as you, I suspect, King. You've just moved house.
Yeah. And we won't dwell on it too much, but there's just so many little things, like moving into an unfurnished place, like no shower, figuring out the acoustics of how to do a podcast or a show. It's an adventure, though. It's all part of the fun. You know?
What you should have done is you should have downloaded House Flipper, and House Flipper would have shown you how to clean blood and everything up.
Oh, this is that game that gave me nightmares.
No, that was the burger one.
Oh, no, the week before. This is the thing where you fix up a house.
Oh, how did that give you nightmares?
There's plenty of room in my brain for the nightmares that you give me each and every week.
I know, but how did that specific? Was it because there's random blood everywhere?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, they don't ever tell you why there's random blood. You just have to clean it up.
Oh, okay. It could have been a nice happy blood incident.
Well, it could have been Jello or strawberry jam. Daddy,
okay.
What was that blood coming from Kitty's ears? No, Rod, that's strawberry jam.
Oh my God. We've had cloning and The Simpsons, and we're only 2 minutes in. We're off to a great start.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of finding bloodstains around the place and no idea how they got there, Moon Knight.
Yes.
You've seen it.
Yes.
I've seen it. It's the first episode of the new Marvel Disney Plus thing, starring everyone's favorite Poe Dameron. It's Oscar Isaac.
Well, you know what, right? So, Oscar Isaac is different in everything I've seen him in. He never looks the same, which is helpful because I hate him as Poe Dameron, but I hate Poe Dameron in general and that whole thing that we shall not talk about. He's actually in one of my favorite movies. I don't know if you've seen it, Ex Machina. Have you seen it?
Yes, movie? I was about to say, yeah. That's his speech about how you would put painting on this kind of elaborate wall, just stand it has, what's that term they use the internet? Free rental space in my brain, as well as the dance sequence. Yeah, he's one of those Alfred Molina style actors who just transforms every time you see him. I almost didn't recognize him in Dune,
Yeah, everything I saw Dune, actually, another one I totally forgot he was in Dune, but that's the point of an actor, right? They're supposed to lose themselves in the role, and the only role that he is basically himself in, to an extent, is Star Wars, and just shows you how poor that movie actually, or those series of movies, are, because he doesn't really have a character. He's just
Well, you
there.
say that, but he was supposed to die in the start of episode 7, and they brought him back through sheer charm of his performance. And that's pretty
Yeah,
good in
well-
10 minutes.
Well,
You know what I mean?
the reason why they said it was because apparently he was dying a lot in movies, and he's like, "Here, can I not die in this one?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure."
Oh, I thought it was that Wedge Antilles was supposed to be turning up in the big
No.
sequence involving X-Wings.
No. I was watching an interview with it. Actually, it was during the week, and he said that. Now, here's the thing. What I would this is kind of the way, and I'm not going to sound harsh, but I would have been like, "No, you're dying. Collect your money and leave." You know?
Oh God, no, he's a shining light in those films.
There is no shining light in those movies. The only shining light is The Last Jedi, and it's because it's different. It's a different movie, and it's, but I'm just like, oh, anyway, we're not getting into it.
Yeah.
So when this started, I didn't know what really to expect. But I was very, like, his performance is very, very good. Obviously, he's a very good actor, really is. I mean, but by sheer fact that he's different all the time, but it started off weird. It continued to be weird. It's completely different. We were saying before we went on, it's a complete different departure for Marvel in a lot of ways. I do have some problems with it, but Keane, before I get into my problems with it, what did you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was a Moon Knight fan anyway, and I'm not sure if this is just me or other comic book fans out there, but when they adapt a character you really like, there's a degree of nervousness because you come to it with a lot of attachment, and you're as likely to be frustrated as you are excited to see your character on the screen. I know that now we live in a Marvel Universe world where there's like a new character every week, but there's still, those feelings are there.
Yeah.
And I was hugely impressed considering how much they changed of the source material, at how much I enjoyed it. We joked a few episodes ago, I'm not sure if you were on for this one, Dara,
No,
about the many identities of Moon Knight. And
I did hear it, yeah.
Yeah, and they've the choices they've made are very, very good ones in terms of juggling that aspect of his character. Yeah, I really like the way he pitches his main character, because you highlighted it at the start of the episode there. Oscar Isaac is an actor who transforms with every character, and you need that with, I'm not sure if it's strictly schizophrenic, but it's definitely multiple identities involved with this. And
yeah, it's supposed to be, from what they believe, DID, so dissociative identity disorder,
right?
Which is used to showcase Mark and Steven's personality.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's and they handle that really well, because like knowing Moon Knight, I knew there was a different identity coming in, and there was a touch of like the Sony Venomness to it initially when he starts hearing voices, which, by the way, F. Murray Abraham as like the Egyptian god voice, top notch, lovely touch. But yeah, it only kind of occurred to me about 20 minutes in that this is the first Disney Plus property that is strictly original. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like plucking Wanda or Falcon or Hawkeye out of an existing storyline. This is a first brand new Disney Plus, and I thought it was fantastic. Actually, it was quite liberating because it could just jump in.
It can be its own thing.
Yeah, and I felt like compared to some of the Dark Marvel Disney Plus, it did feel like a complete episode of television. It wasn't like the first half an hour of a movie. I was gripped to it throughout the entire thing. If this is the standard of the whole series, I am hugely impressed and very, very excited for next week. And it makes me interested to hear what your concerns are now.
Yeah, no, I think it was brilliant. I genuinely really, really enjoyed it. As you said, I love the way it's just able to be its own thing. Doesn't have to be a terrible thing like the Falcon and Winter Soldier thing. Doesn't have to be disappointing like WandaVision. Loki is pretty great, to be fair. What if, again, that went off the rails at certain points? I mean, it's just able to be its own thing. And Hawkeye's great. Actually, this really does feel like Hawkeye, where it's its own self-contained thing so far. And Hawkeye, even though, it's Hawkeye, it's almost, we joked, we were talking about, it's like, no one takes Hawkeye seriously, so there's no expectation,
Yeah, but that's the joke, and that's the joke of the comics. Like, you don't strap a character to a unicorn in the hopes they'll be taken seriously. You know what I mean?
I know, but what I mean is because it doesn't have the weight. Like what kills Falcon and the Winter Soldier really is the suit, the horrific speech in the middle of it, and just how meh it kind of feels near
In the
the end.
finale.
Oh my god, that finale was the worst thing I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of bad things.
Yeah, I think
Same with
the
WandaVision. WandaVision also has a terrible ending, also for very much the same reason. Like, I loved WandaVision up until the ending, and I mean the problem with that. Sorry for cutting across the game, but I mean
no, it's great.
the problem with that kind of stuff is you're sitting there and you're like, I'm expecting too much, if that makes sense.
Mm.
You know, with the big names, you're like, okay, well, I want, even though you know it's not going to be, you want an Avenger level thing, even though, or even like a Spider-Man Far From Home, No Way Home, or whatever. This, I think they finally, I don't know if they've worked it in or whatever. I mean, this works nicely because you can tell a full story. Like, I don't know how many episodes there are. I'm assuming there's like 6 or 7, right?
I'll check that now.
There's 6 or 7 anyway. Let's
So
just say
far,
that.
they've all been kind of 6,
Yeah.
apart from WandaVision, because that was shorter.
Yeah, I'd imagine there would be 6 to 7, 6 to 8 anyway, right? Somewhere around that. And if that's the case, so then it's 6 hours, give or take, where you can sit in and actually get to know Moon Knight and kind of know what's up with Mark Spector and then obviously Stephen Grant as well. But there's so many different characters that he could actually be. We don't know. And to try and do that in a, you know, you guys joked about it in the show, which was really good, that he does have so many different personas. And they've already changed so much that, like, Stephen Grant's supposed to be a billionaire businessman, but he's not. He works in a museum. And I think it's one of those things where, like, they are going their own way and there's enough time to really kind of set this up. And what will be interesting is where it sits. We don't know where it sits. They haven't mentioned the blip. They haven't mentioned, you know, seeing all
True.
that
I didn't consider that, actually. By the way, I just checked it. It is 6 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where it will go now because
we don't know. We don't know. Like, you know, I know they have, like, they've introduced, again, the gods exist in this world, which is pretty cool. You don't know where they are yet, as far as if they're like the Asgardian gods. You don't know if they're, you know, on the level who does Loki work for? What's called the TS? Is it TSA? Let's go with that. It's the TSA. We don't really know where they sit yet on their power level. So it'll be interesting to kind of see it. Now, look, my concerns come from the fact that a lot of this kind of happens in a lot of it happens in London, and then another some of it happens in, I think it was the Alps. That's kind of where the first episode happens. So the first episode, there is the introduction to the main villain, who's played by Ethan Hawke, which I initially thought it was the guy from Tremors. I can't remember his name.
I know you're talking about Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's not Kevin Bacon, that's Ethan Hawke, because with the long hair, they look very similar in a weird way. Very, very similar. But and a lot of it takes place in London. Now, here's the thing. I know London exceptionally well. Like, really, really well. And I know the British Museum incredibly well. And there's only one museum that would fulfill what they're trying to do, and it's not the British Museum. And that's what they're obviously where he works. So it does take me out, because one thing I loved about the Eternals was the Eternals, they actually teach in the Natural History Museum, which is amazing. You know, okay, so that's real London. You know, they actually did shoot around Camden and stuff like that. And this is like shot in Vancouver or something like that, you know?
Oh, I see. So it's like kind of LA landmark studio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like one or two, like, so the bits where they're on the bus, yeah, obviously that's in London, you know, but I mean, it just pulls me right out of it. And I'm like, you couldn't have just gone to the British Museum for like a day and shot all this in a day. Like, I mean, they'd probably let you. I was there last week. It was grand. You know,
true, but at least, because you've highlighted a point there isn't much Marvel stuff in the UK. I know Thor 2 was set there briefly, but I'd struggle to think And Captain America, I suppose, is in the UK as well. But like,
Kinda, not really. Like not modern day. I mean, the UK, and I look for the majority of people who are watching it, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, it's a museum in England, and sure doesn't it look the same? And look, to be fair, kind of does in a little bit, but only for the fact that I know it so well, it instantly pulls me out of it.
right.
And I'm like, you couldn't have just went. You were there anyway. You know, like you could have, you know, it was, yeah, it's just the thing that I'm like, look, I can accept that the Egyptian gods are real. I can accept magic. I can accept superheroes, but I can't accept that it pulls me out way too much. And I'm like, oh no, why? But then again, here's the thing. The stuff that they're talking about actually isn't there. So I understand it was probably easier for them to make a fake museum for loads of reasons. Because what they want isn't there. I mean, like the Egyptian exhibit in the British Museum, I literally saw it a lot on Saturday. So it was incredibly fresh in my brain.
Well, I mean, if they went to a real one, like the museum would have loads of like Moon Knight cosplayers for the rest of time. And I'm
that
not
wouldn't
sure.
be a bad thing. Why would that be a bad thing? Like,
Well, not for us, but like, it's not what it's for.
No, you charged them. You're like, here, look, if you're going to come in the Moon Knight costume, you're paying $5. I mean, capitalism, you know? It's like, oh, you're wearing that Moon Knight costume? There you go, £5, you know? But I mean, it just pulled me out way too much because I'm like, to be honest with you, I think the real reason why they didn't do it was because the stuff that's there isn't there. Like, they spend a lot of time going back and forward through certain artifacts in Egypt that either aren't real or are real or aren't important or are important. You know, there's no one-to-one. It's not like they're like, this whole thing revolves around the Rosetta Stone, you know?
Yeah.
Or you know, this for whatever, you know, it makes sense. But it is kind of annoying where you're walking past and what got me as well was your man in the security guard having all those screens.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, no, when you go to the British Museum, you walk around the side and then you go to a tent and you check your bag and you go in. It's like, stop it. Stop it.
Well, look, it's the Marvel universe. Maybe security laxed after the blip when half the people literally disappeared. That's fine. I can suspend my disbelief that far.
It improved. Your man has like 12 screens. It's like, what are you doing? You know, but again, also, Far From Home was in the UK as well.
That's true, but only like
the end of it,
kind of to swing over the landmarks. They weren't like spending time in the cafes and like, you know, taking road tours and that kind of stuff.
What is weird is the bathroom scene is pretty much spot on with the British Museum. And even I know it's a really weird thing that I'm talking about, but I got excited initially by the trailer because when he's in the gift shop, it does kind of look like it.
Right.
And the fact that it's not, I'm like, it just pulls me out of it. I'm like, I can't suspend my disbelief that much.
Okay, but I would think that's something very specific to you.
I don't know. Let us know, folks.
Yes.
Let us know.
You fans of Egyptology and British museums in particular, do let us know. And actually, I'm very interested to see, because you did mention, like, you know, we have an Egyptian godlike thing now. Obviously, kind of the Norse gods exist.
Yeah.
But, like, it'd be interesting to see how they handle, like, because Moon Knight's origin is a bit dicey. It's like, you know, a mercenary who breaks into a tomb and gets possessed by an Egyptian god. It's very, like, for lack of a better term, non-PC. So I'd be interested to see how they handle that.
That's interesting.
Forward.
What do you mean non-PC?
Well, you know what I mean? It's kind of, well, I mean, in the comics, he's a billionaire as well, like Batman, you know, so they've edged that out of it. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about an Egyptian god, you know, picking some non-Egyptian guy as the magic savior, that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
not necessarily, no. I
like Iron Fist vibes, like, you know,
some
kind of white guy talking about a culture that's not his own down to people. That kind of. There was a tiny bit of it when he was correcting the one who's like, there's 7 like gods in this poster. There's actually supposed to be 9, but like they made that character so bratty, you didn't mind it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but he's so into Egyptology that it would kind of make sense. But I mean, with that, it's like, so I've looked this up, right? Mohammed Diab is the screenwriter and director, and his work, his actual, author approach is issues concerning Egyptian society.
Okay, all right.
So,
So they're
I
actually
mean,
properly like.
they're properly involved, yeah.
Okay.
Fair play to Marvel because they let directors do what they're going to do to an extent and kind of go for it. And it works sometimes and it doesn't. And it's palpable for some and it's not for others. Like, again, I love The Eternals. I think The Eternals is one of my favorite.
Yeah, that one I've really enjoyed on the rewatches. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. But then again, some people hate it. Some people love Ragnarok. I don't like it. Some people like Thor 2. Actually, most people hate Thor 2, I'll be honest. But I mean,
no, you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, like I loved the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and
Yeah.
like even though we can slam the Disney Plus things, you do get the sense that they're being slightly less curated than the Marvel films,
which is good.
There's a definite place for that. Let the kind of creatives tell their own story and trust Kevin Feige to throw an Easter egg in the end to tie it all together.
And what I would say again, like I would say to people who do have concerns about these kind of things, like, look, Marvel know what they're doing, and at the end of the day, they are being very tactful with things, and getting hung up on X, Y, and Z is just, I don't know. For me, I think it's counterproductive, but this is the thing about nerdom, right? You can you can get these different things, but I'm excited to see Moon Knight. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see Oscar Isaac's becoming a Marvel fully fledged out superhero.
Yeah, because we don't actually have a lot of Marvel superheroes who do the Spider-Man thing of just jumping around roofs and helping people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, there's the Netflix universe who are now on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I mean, Daredevil's
there's not a lot of them,
Also, as you said, this is our first European superhero. I mean, like, okay, on the map, there's America, Wakanda with Black Panther. But then again, Black Panther might no longer exist because of
look, Shuri or Nakia are going to take over the mantle. Like,
there
will be a Black Panther of some sort.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm actually really interested to see how they're going to do it now, because your one who was playing Shuri got fired. I'm actually quite interested to see what they do with Black Panther 2.
Yeah, because I've been wondering about this myself. Like, not to get too in the weeds about this.
Yeah, because we're not
in
there
the
yet.
time period, M'Baku, the cousin up in the mountains, he would have legally been king.
Yes,
because Shuri and the Black Panther T'Challa got dusted.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, it'd be interesting to see now who steps in. Obviously, they are going to keep the mantle going, but that would be the only African hero as such in the universe. And then obviously in China there's Shang-Chi, but he's kind of jumping back and forth between San Francisco.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is everywhere.
Doctor Strange is everywhere.
But he still lives in New York.
But I mean, it's still very much American focused, so it's just like, right, it's cool. It's cool to not have just America again, and New York and San Francisco. It's always great to see it shaken up. So I'm very, very interested now to kind of see this kind of sitting back and going, right, well, what's the because one thing for me, like, I'm interested to see what the Marvel universe looks like for somebody, again, much like Stephen Grant here, where it's like he gets the bus. What's that like in the Marvel universe? I think this is the first time we've seen somebody get the bus, like an actual bus, not like a school bus, is it? But no, here, I checked it. They were never in London at all. They shot it all in Georgia, like in America, where they shoot all the Marvel stuff. Atlanta, Georgia, Slovenia, and Jordan, and Hungary.
Oh my! Well, I mean, actually, no, that's not surprising, because like you couldn't fly out, what's his name, Oscar Isaac, to a major metropolis city and not disrupt everything.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like even the bit where it looks like London, it wasn't the bit on the bus. It looks like they just shot that somewhere. So I mean, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. But the turnaround time is quite cool. They shot it from April to October.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's very quick.
Okay. Well, I mean that's TV, but sure.
Yeah. We'll review it week to week, and then as we're going forward, we'll kind of look at it.
But yeah, okay, all right. Well, I'd be interested to see that take on it now because,
Yeah.
like, I mean, like again, you mentioned Shang-Chi, like, kind of actual, like, if you're going to do these cultures kind of as your Marvel thing, do hand it over to people who slightly know what they're doing. It seems like a reasonable mandate.
Absolutely. So Peacemaker.
Yes, Peacemaker. Sorry, apologies. There's some mild. I'm recording at home, and there's some mild child-related issues that we're working around. So yeah, Peacemaker. I mentioned this actually before we started recording. It's this weird thing. I watched these two back to back, their first episodes of each, because Peacemaker is on like kind of Now TV and that kind of stuff, and I just found it. And Peacemaker is like it's crass in points, but it's like a colorful, upbeat James Gunn DC show coming straight on the heels of a gloomy, mythic, god-centric horror Marvel show. And it completely feels like all of the traits have been swapped around. And some of it's due to James Gunn. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's wonderful. It's first off, it's not safe for kids. There's a lot of adult content in it. But yeah, it's wonderful. It picks up right from the Suicide Squad, the more recent one. And it is the story of Peacemaker recovering in hospital and then just being let out into the world, kind of loosely.
Oh, so he's not dead?
No, he's not dead.
Oh, I thought it was a prequel.
No. It picked like the show opens with a full recap of the Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, I thought he was dead.
No, he's alive. Like,
oh, this makes so much more sense. I was
confused.
And
it's great. It's so goofy because like. It's the first scene of it is he's being discharged from hospital and he's offended that no police are like trying to stop him because like he thinks he's famous enough to be worth arresting. And then like the opening thing is a full dance montage of all the characters to disco music. Like it's very James Gunn. The sounds are great. There's lots of violence. There's lots of swearing, and the language the characters uses. There's a kind of, it's so funny the way, and like the characters even so. But it's very violent show, but it's got real heart to it. Like they draft in, the T-1000 for Terminator 2, Robert Patrick, to be Peacemaker's dad, and like he's just like so disappointed in him. But while he was in prison, he took care of his pet eagle, like who's his sidekick. It's just it's so goofy, but there's also like a real grounding to it. Everything that works in Guardians of the Galaxy works here, and it's maybe my favorite DC thing in quite a long time.
My mind is blown because I genuinely thought it was a prequel, and that's why that's actually why I skipped it.
Oh no, don't skip it. In fact, it's got real ties to, it's a proper sequel to the Suicide Squad movie, which is awkward to say. Like Amanda Waller is in it. Like all of the kind of people who are on computers in the Suicide Squad, they're in it. Like, kind of tracking their progress and all that. They're fully like, fleshed out characters now. Like there's like lots of like DC Universe kind of shout outs and cameos and things. Like it's a proper, like, it's, at least as far as I can tell, it's the first attempt at a Disney Plus style thing in the DC universe. And it's wonderful. And I don't even really like the DC universe that much, but I love this. Yeah. This is great fun. And John Cena is like, I don't know where he picked up acting, because I know you'd know him from the wrestling, obviously.
Terrible wrestler.
He communicates so much through his face.
Yeah.
It's a real goofy combination, because he's not a nice person, but he really wants to be loved. And he just walks around these like restaurants and like public places in his costume, trying to be friendly and failing.
I mean, that's his wrestling gimmick.
Is it? Okay, because I don't know anything about him as a wrestler.
Well, he was supposed to be a face, but everybody hates him. So, I mean, he spent the last 15 years doing that. So,
Oh my God, that is brilliant. But yeah, I definitely checked this out. I've huge respect for both James Gunn and John Cena after seeing this. It's just like I've only seen the first episode now.
Oh wait, hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa! Breaking news! Oh my
Huh?
God, breaking news! Sorry,
Oh.
Brocken news. So, again, this comes from geekireland.com. Olivia Fahey reporting E3 officially off as they cancel 2022 digital event. So EA is the biggest gaming convention of the year. Those who have been hoping to catch new announcement at E3 this year will be bitterly disappointed here that the 2022 digital event has been cancelled.
Wait, what? How come?
Well, the in-person event had already been cancelled with a digital version instead, but now there's just they just pulled it.
Okay, do they give an explanation why?
In a statement, in a statement to IGN, EGA, who are the organizer, said, quote, "We will devote all energy and resources to delivering a revitalized physical and digital E3 experience next summer."
That's not an answer though.
Bummer, it's not. So apparently they cancelled it so that the organization can refocus its resources onto a 2023 show. So yeah, no answer, but whoa. Sorry,
Holy
Ian.
moly.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that is
no. It's
huge news.
like I feel like we're on Sky News now or something like that. Like,
literally
action
breaking
updates with Kent Brockman at the scene. Like,
literally breaking as we're talking. It's Geek Ireland right on it, but it's all over Twitter now as well. So whoa, that's big, and it's crazy, man, because like I don't know, things are getting back to normal, but now stuff like this happens, and you're like, I don't know.
I've never once watched a gaming conference, if I'm being honest.
Well, no, I'm not looking at the gaming conference as such. What I'm thinking is the knock-on effect this could have a Comic-Con.
Oh, I see. Why?
I mean,
do you think it's going to be like a health and safety concern? Is that it? Sure.
Well, that's kind of, well, they didn't address it, but I mean, you don't just count like E3. They would normally have an in-person, and then they'd have the digital one. Now, the digital one I don't particularly like. I wouldn't really be bothered, but it's interesting that they didn't try to go for the in-person one. So I'm like, oh, okay, hopefully it doesn't lead to anything else. But there you go. That's probably the biggest news of the week right there, and it's breaking as we're doing the show as well.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, do you think this will, like, I know you talked about Comic-Con, but do you think this will have any like big effects on the gaming industry? Because I honestly don't know what the impact of E3 is.
Well, E3 is kind of an industry thing, where people now. I know some people actually went to E3 a fair bit because to work for Activision and stuff, and they will, basically just go, and it's mainly for journalists and stuff like that, where you go in and try new games or get updates about what's going on, or if there's new console been worked on. Like it is quite a big event, but it wouldn't necessarily be for people. Now, I know in the past couple of years, E3 has become a bit more of a tourist conny thing,
Right.
where you'd have the con feel. But I don't know. The only thing I'd be concerned about is I'm like, geez, do they know something we don't know where it comes to like big events? Because I kind of like the fact that cons are back. I'm not gonna lie, Comic-Con was great this year. It was super fun. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on it, obviously, and hopefully it is just a resources thing. But we'd have to keep an eye on it. Here, one thing I did want to talk to you about. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Have you seen the Batman yet?
Oh yeah, we covered it. Me and Kev, I think, covered it a week or two ago.
Have you seen the deleted scene with Barry Keogh?
Yes, I did. What did you think of it?
I wasn't expecting to see it on a random Thursday morning, but there you go. It was fab. Like, now look, I know the reason why it was cut. The reason why is because I think it was just for time, and a lot of what's in it is kind of superfluous anyway.
Yeah, there's some good foreshadowing, but that's it. It makes sense to me because they keep very specifically saying in the movie he's been Batman for 2 years, and I was wondering why they kept saying that, and now I know it's because the Joker says "Happy 1 year anniversary" in the start of the scene. It's like right.
The Joker was the first big.
That's why. Okay, and I've got to say, I suppose I'm feeling towards this the way you're feeling towards the Hulk thing. because I would have the World War Hulk thing, because I would have loved a movie of Silence of the Lambs where the Joker stays in prison and isn't the villain. I would have loved an entire film of
Well,
that.
that's probably what you're gonna get.
Do you think? Because it feels like the scene kind of does the entire premise to its fullest. Do you know what I mean?
No, I look, I mean, this will probably be in the Blu-ray. Like they should put it. If I was doing this, I'd put it in the movie,
Yeah.
in the Blu-ray, right? And
I'd pick this scene over the Joker scene that was in it.
yeah, exactly, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think they will kind of go back to that. I don't think this is the first time that's going to happen. I think they'll do it a little bit better, but maybe scatter it out through the movie because we don't know what the next Batman movie's going to be. We don't know who the next villain is going to be.
That's true. I mean, I'm assuming like we don't know if Matt Reeves is coming back. I'm assuming so because what on earth would he leave for?
I know they are doing an Arkham series for TV though.
Yes, with the Jeffrey Wright character, aren't they? They're doing.
Yeah,
I know they're doing a Gotham PD show with Colin Farrell as the Penguin in it.
So I mean, we know what's cool about this is we know the Joker's there. And the thing about the Batman, the Dark Knight, the Joker never left. He was always there as well. He just, obviously didn't do anything with him.
Yeah.
After, in the Dark Knight Rises. But this is much more kind of like, it feels more like Batman, like in the comics and even in the games. Actually, no, it doesn't really feel like the comics. It feels more like the games. The whole thing felt like Arkham Asylum. And
the whole film.
The whole film, yeah. The whole.
Oh yeah, because of all the detective work and stuff.
Yeah, and just the way it feels like it's a like when you're playing the Arkham series, you drop in to Batman being Batman. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Same with I'm a big fan of the Telltale Batmans.
Yeah, exactly.
This Riddler feels like he's lifted straight out of.
But what's cool about it is it's like I really like that. Like we don't. It's not the I. I mean, we. I mean, like the majority of people don't want another Joker movie because they've kind of done it. Like it's been done to death,
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hopeful that because the Joaquin Phoenix Joker is set in a vague 1970s, and this was allegedly at one point set in a vague 1990s, that they might be like tying the two together. But you know what? I quite like the idea. If we must have a young Batman, at least we can have a young Joker. And he's not fully formed. And that's kind of what's interesting about him, But
what's interesting as well is like, they can ride that out.
Yeah.
He can be like, and I think they will. I mean, I think that's the dynamic they have. They do have the best Batman Joker dynamic in that one scene that they've ever had outside of even in the animated series. I mean, in the game, it's very interesting because they explore the duality of the two and how they're interconnected and how they kind of are the same person in a lot of ways. So, I mean, look, if that is canon, which, I think kind of is, it's just the lead scene. Yeah. It will be interested now to kind of where they go from it. And I'm like you, I would really like him to show up in the next one. Where the only bit is there is no Hush. If they do Hush, that would be cool, and it would warrant that. Because he's the only one who would actually he needs the Joker's help.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, I want to segue back to a point you brought up because about how kind of they are two sides of the same coin, how they need each other. So far, the only movie that's copped to that is Lego Batman, which is the most insightful Batman movie of all time, if you can get past the fact that it's a Lego movie.
Yeah, because
they lean into the fact that without the Joker, Batman would have nothing to do. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
And how they really rely on each other to exist. Like,
But I mean, it's like, even in the scene, Barry Kell's like, as the Joker is, pretty much psychoanalyzing Bruce the whole time through the Riddler. Like, I don't know if you heard this theory don't know if you heard the theory that Batman's Rose Gallery are his trauma through a different lens.
Right.
And also it goes there's I can't remember the name of the series. Well, no, it was done in a comic book, The Last Night on Earth, where Batman is not Batman. He is in an insane asylum, and all of the villains are doctors. trying to help him.
Okay.
It's actually a pretty good series, but I mean, that theory's been out for a while that Batman isn't actually Batman. He's just crazy. And I mean, like, he dresses as a bat and punches people. So, like, yeah, kind of, you know. But it's interesting that this Joker isn't Jared Leto. You know, he isn't going ha 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 and, you know, being ridiculous. He's actually trying to get into his head in such a way where it's like he has all that menace and terror as well. So I'm very looking forward to it. I think it's going to be
and fair
cool.
play to Barry Keoghan for like giving such a good performance in such a short amount of time. Because
I mean,
you brought up Jared Leto, who admittedly did not get as much time as people think he did, but still, it's a very charged, small amount of time to deliver a fully formed character, and he did.
Yeah, in like 2 minutes. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, which is hugely impressive. And actually, I think if the scene was in the film, it would have made, because I mean, we are slightly dipping towards spoilers, but like the face off with the Riddler, it seems as if he's sussed Batman's secret, and that might have paid off better if we already had an interrogation scene that pushed towards that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's one of those things where watching Batman in the cinema and watching this, for me, this is something like if I was booking it, it's not wrestling. If I was doing this, I would reshoot this scene as web vignettes to hype the next movie, where it's like, you know, Batman's like, hey, look, we have this person who comes in, and it could be like, you know, Clayface or you know, some obscure. I think going the obscure villains is the best way, rather than going like, you know, Mr. Freeze or something like that. I think if you're like, you know, Clayface, Killer Croc, even anyone from the Suicide Squad, you can pull them because, you know, they're not in this movie.
Oh, completely. And like, people forget the success of the Christopher Nolan things is that all of the villains in those were either obscure or completely reinvented to the point that you didn't recognize them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the Joker and Two-Face. Or like Bane has got nothing to do with Bane in the comics. You know what I mean?
Oh, he does to an extent. Like, there's still shades of. He's a much better Bane than the Bane in Batman and Robin, to be fair.
Oh, well, that's a low bar.
Yeah. Although he does look like Bane in the comics.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, you know, it's cool. It's a cool scene. I think it was a nice little thing to see. It'd be interesting to see, you know, when this kind of picks up. There's a lot more momentum to this than anything in the DC universe. I'll be honest.
Well, I mean, you know, check out Peacemaker.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, like, it's funny they can all kind of sit in the set, and I think this is the right way to do it. We've kind of touched on this before.
Yes,
this is the right way to do it. Like, Marvel has always been one big continuity. That kind of has to be one big continuity. DC can be several different continuities, many different multiverses, different universes that all exist at exactly in time when you bounce around. Like, I'm still really looking forward to Flashpoint. It's a shame that the guy who plays the Flash can't stop. You know, can't stop. You know,
well, that's a very Flash thing, I suppose.
Yeah, well, no, he keeps getting involved with controversy.
Oh, I see.
So it's just like, okay, you know, maybe don't derail the movie before it comes out, because I'm really excited about seeing the movie. And I mean, like, you know, if he gets replaced or something happens to him, the movie's done, because he can't necessarily, you know, he plays two different Flashes. So.
Oh, well, look, I mean, there's going to be multiple Batmen. If they need to, they'll find a way to do it.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny about Moon Knight. There was a quote there from Declan Shalvey, and he actually reacted to one of the promotional shots from Mr. Knight, who appeared in 2014. It's cool. I've actually met Declan Shalvey. He's a good lad. But yeah, I forget that the Irish, one of the biggest writers of Marvel, or not writers, but artists of Marvel is Irish. It's funny, you know.
Ah, well, sure. Ireland is a big animation industry. Like, you know, I think there is a bit of an overlap there. But I agree. Yeah, you're right. You might not immediately recognize it. Like, I think a lot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff came out of Ireland too.
This is true. Very, 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 very true.
You brought up Jared Leto, actually. How much time do we have left? Do we have time to speculate on Morbius?
We do. We have it like 5 minutes.
Okay, well, maybe we'll push it to 10 because I know that there was a bit of
Sure.
quiet time
Sure.
in the edit. But yeah, 2 big movies coming out will be out on the day this episode goes out.
Yes.
We have Morbius and Sonic 2 going head to head. Morbius, even though I love the character, I could not care less. And I really should because Matt Smith's in it and I'll go to see anything with Matt Smith in it.
Yeah, I know. It's
whereas Sonic 2, I am incredibly excited for. Sonic, the first Sonic movie is like just always on in our house on Netflix and I don't even mind. It's delightful. Like, what are you hyped for either of these, or do you have any predictions or anything like that?
Oh, I love the first Sonic movie.
Yeah,
I
didn't know you'd seen it.
I loved it so much. I really did. It's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. Unfortunately, I can't say the other thing about Morbius. I think Morbius, like I have tickets for Sonic now on the weekend. Morbius, I'll probably see over the weekend at some point. But it's gonna be bad. And it sucks. I feel
like, but what kind of bad? That's the key thing.
So I've heard a couple of things. Right. I've heard that it was supposed to be a rated R movie,
right? And
it was shot with that in mind.
Okay.
That it was supposed to be a rated R movie, and there was some graphic violence in it, and it's supposed to be completely.
Well, I mean, it's about a vampire eats people,
Yeah. It was supposed to be all that kind of stuff. Well, not so much because they work in the whole blood back thing, and this goes back to what we were saying about Sony not being able to just leave the movie alone, and change and stuff. So they did kind of mandate a lot of things, as far as like how Morbius looks, how he can kill, who he can't kill, how he can feed, and with the result, a lot of it looks like I was watching Jamie John's review of it. And he was saying it feels and plays like a video game, like a bad movie tie-in video game. And apparently that's what it's like. You go from bit to bit. It has recycled animations, and it's just not very good. Now I'm going to watch it. I'm going to go in with an open mind because that's the way I like to go into movies. I don't like to make my judgment before I watch anything. I think it's deeply unfair. But I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm just lowering my expectations down, which I think is a good way to do things. And if it is that bad, it means that we're back to Sony making these trash movies where you're like, oh, okay.
No, be fair, they never stopped.
Oh, no, the Spider-Man movies weren't trash, and Venom wasn't trash. Venom 2 was pretty bad. Venom,
the guiding Kevin Feige hand.
And Venom 1 was quite good, to be fair. Come on.
Venom 1, I've seen it loads of times. I wouldn't call it good in the traditional sense.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's great fun.
It is, yeah, it is. But see, from what I hear, there's no fun in this. It's just kind of, and also, spoilers, folks. So they make a whole thing out of Michael Keaton being in the movie. Apparently, he's not even in it.
Oh.
Apparently, that
he was in the trailer and stuff, wasn't he?
Yeah, so it could be a case that there's a post-credit scene and he's in it, and maybe that's the post-credit scene. Apparently, he's not in it, and it's like, oh, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, that's always, the Sony ads are always like, I mean, they've given away the plots of the last 3 Spider-Man movies in their entirety.
Yeah.
In the trailers. Like, they just want to get you in the cinema, like.
And I'm just like, okay, obviously I will go see it, but I'm lowering my expectations deeply. Sonic, on the other hand.
Well, I'm glad you actually brought up Sonic because, like, Sonic was one where the trailer came out and the internet rejected it.
Yeah.
And granted, they had to overhaul Sonic, but even so, it seemed like it was going to be a cringy, like, kind of throwback to the glory Jim Carrey days type thing. And it turned out to be great.
Yeah.
So anything's possible,
And this one has Tails. It has Knuckles.
Back to Idris Elba. That is the accidental theme of our episode.
Perfect casting. By the way, actually, a really good Idris Elba movie. Is the Hobbs and Shaw movie? Have you seen that? The spin-off.
No, but I do really like the Fast and Furious franchise. So
watch that one. It's fantastic. I mean, it's so stupid and dumb as all hell.
Oh, look, it's called brilliant. Fast and Furious. Look, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, you know what you're getting, and you're getting that, but with Idris Elba. It's brilliant. I really like it. But no, I think that's a really cool casting as Knuckles. Again, I love Sonic 2. Sonic 2 was the first game I ever played. Really, I think Wolfenstein was the first game I ever played. Sonic 2 was the first game I ever like owned on the Mega Drive. So I have massive graw for it. And Knuckles, fun fact, when I do play Sonic 2 today, I always play it with Knuckles because it's the ROM hack I use. Because you used to be able to connect the two cartridges together, Sonic 2 into Sonic and Knuckles, and Sonic was in Knuckles was in Sonic 2.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so Knuckles is my favorite Sonic character. So I'm like really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be not as good as the first one because people were just not expecting the first one to be good. I don't think they genuinely were. I think they were just kind of like, oh wow, it's really good. Okay. So this will be possible. If my prediction on this, based on nothing, is possible to enjoyable.
Yeah,
but not.
I think it depends. If the winning ingredient for me, apart from like Jim Carrey just being fun, was the chemistry between James Marsden and the Hedgehog, which was added in post production.
Yes.
If he gets sidelined, the movie will suffer because I think he was the secret hero of that movie.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment.
It could happen if Tails is coming into it because Tails is also Sonic's best friend.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll have that problem. Tails. It's one of those things where it's like, are they going to? It depends where they base it. You know what I mean? So like, if this takes place in our world, for want of a better word, that'll probably that probably won't happen. It'll probably be more controlled. If there's them jumping back and forward, that could happen. But
okay, because also I only noticed on the rewatch, I love the fact that the place Sonic doesn't want to go is a mushroom world.
Yeah,
that's such a wonderfully crass dig at Nintendo.
Well, it's deserved.
It deserved, but it took me a few goes to put 2 and 2 together.
To be fair, there are big mushroom worlds in Sonic and Knuckles as well.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah. So
okay, maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Well, I enjoy your reading of it, King.
Because so many times he specifically says, "Oh, I hate mushrooms."
But he does like chili dogs. That is his favorite thing.
Yeah. I just hope they keep that. We're going to try and make it my daughter's first cinema trip. I hope it just has that irreverent, like playful style to it that the first one does. Like, when he runs in slow motion across the bar, the amazing soundtrack and all that kind of stuff. Like, it doesn't need to be a complicated story. It just needs to be fun.
Yeah, and I think with the right team in mind there. Look, again, I'm going to see this on Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, look, we'll talk about it next week. But I think that's it, Keen. We're almost out of time.
Excellent. Well, is there anything you want to say or plug before we go?
Yeah, it's SimFest over on Steam at the moment. So Sim, obviously gaming sims, and up until April 4th. So I think this will be relevant when the show is going out. What time? It basically, this is going out the 2nd of April. So go over to Steam and you can get a rake of sim games, including the one we talked about last week, the evil burger simulator. And also you can get House Flipper and all the mad sim games. Because again, Keen, I've been talking about these for a very long time, and I'm in heaven right now because I'm like, oh my god, they're all on sale. So I'm a very happy camper right now because I'm just able to pick up the ones that I necessarily didn't want to pay full price for. And they're like 15-80%, including actually I'll real quick I'll go through what's in my cart at the moment.
Right.
Hacker Simulator, which is actually really good. It's if you want to learn how to hack, this is like a really good way to do it. While True Learn bracket, which my friend says is really good. They were playing it the other day and they said it's the closest thing you can have to the programming, so that's cool. 911 Operator, which looks interesting, and Euro Truck Simulator 2, which is a game where you drive a truck through Europe. Literally, that's the game. You drive a big Mack truck, and the games go on for 5-6 hours, and then you get paid.
Oh, I'm getting the Final Fantasy 15 vibes off that. That sounds fun.
Man, I just really enjoy sim games. I don't know why. I can't explain my love for it, but I enjoy it.
It's all the fun of the world without leaving the house.
That's probably what it is. Yeah, that's probably what it is. But yeah, I will plug that because I didn't even know it was like the PC building simulator is super fun where you build a PC. These are all fun. So yeah, I would say, look, if you're desperately want to pick up random games about everything from cooking to show running to whatever, it's all there. There's a simulation game for you, and I like these games far too much. So that's what I'm going to plug this week.
Excellent. Well, on that note, I think we'll call time. Next week, hopefully, if we're organized enough, we will have our thoughts on Sonic 2 and Morbius, and maybe even some more Peacemaker and Moon Knight thoughts. Of course, let us know what you want us to talk about, because there's a whole wealth of nerdy things we could be covering at the moment. But until then...
Well, one thing, nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com is where you can reach us. You can also reach us nerdtoknowmedia.com, where all our socials are linked there as well. If this is your first time checking out the show, thank you very, very much. Please go over and subscribe, like, and tweet at us, because we get lonely.
Tweet! Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
All right, so you're listening to the podcast. You're like, hey, I'm not in Ireland. How do I get in touch? Well, TuneIn has you covered. That's how you can check us out live when we're on the radio. You go to TuneIn and download the app, or you can check out the live streams on nerdtoknowmedia.com or Phoenix 92.5 FM. If you want to get in contact with us, it's very easy. Nerd to Know Media everywhere. Nerd to Know Media on Twitter. Nerd to Know Media Instagram. Nerd to Know Media on Twitch. Nerd to Know Media @gmail.com if you want to reach out via email. Hope to hear from you soon.
Hey, Dara, what are you doing over there in Ireland? Like with the freaking leprechauns and everything. That's not cool. You should be over here with the cosplayers. At least then you could, like, I don't know, pretend like you got, I don't know, some kind of thing going on. Yeah, with you give me a Brooklyn raise. Yeah, with you. Dara? Yeah, Dara. Why ain't you over here with Joey? Anyway, we missed you, dude. So, it's Bill Karibo saying...
I love it. All I do is
check out the rest of Rewind here on Phoenix 92.5 FM every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And of course, over on nerdtoknowmedia.com, the only wrestling podcast by wrestling fans who don't hate wrestling. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.